Alright, Colin, what about you? Right, just a wee video for you. This is basically just for you, show it to Donna and everyone. I'm not going to whack it on TikTok, but I will put another video up on YouTube and TikTok, in the madness of it all. So here's what happened that day. I remember it really, really well, mate. The whole thing, right? It's nuts, isn't it? So there's my ticket. You'll have the exact same type of ticket. It's got all this stuff on the back. I remember thinking, there's something on the back that said under 18s need to be accompanied by an over 18. And me and Keith, we knew about that, but we didn't tell any of our parents that, because if they found out, they would say, well, you can't go. But we knew that wouldn't be, that rule wouldn't be stuck to, if you know what I mean, because mostly teenagers were going. So that was the first thing. They were saying that they were going to check ID. I think in those days we'd have been 16. We didn't. We only had our national insurance number. I think we didn't have our driving license yet, so we probably wouldn't have had a proper ID. Might have had a passport, but you wouldn't have taken that down to Cork. So basically, I remember I had a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a packed lunch. So my ma had given me sandwiches, banana, Mars bar, yogurts, and probably some soft drinks. Which is the mad thing, because back then it would have been sort of great thing to do a carry out, but actually we didn't. Possibly out of a bit of respect for your parents for taking us down there, but also maybe we were quite young and we wanted to see that raw. I think looking back, I'm pretty glad we saw it raw. You had a bottle of water, and they checked it on the way in and they thought it was vodka. That is no joke of a lie, that is nuts. So when we got up to the gate to get into Cork, there were loads of checkpoints actually. Your parents dropped us off at Jury's Inn on the corner, and Leonard said, right lads, meet us, we'll be at Jury's Inn at about, 11, half 11, midnight, whatever time we got out of the concert, they would be waiting at Jury's Inn for us. Amy was there, so it was Amy, Leonard and Jean driving us. Now, the way it happened was, you and Keith had already got your tickets, and you said to me, I said, well, I can't believe that tickets are that easy to get. Right, couldn't believe it. So actually my dad ended up getting me my ticket. He went in, I think you went in the morning to MTM, and my dad was working in Belfast, and he used to call my mum to the house phone every day, and because it was the summer, we were at home, and I was quite excited when you told me about the ticket. I think you phoned me, or did I phone you or something, because even though we lived around the corner, you'd phone the house phone back then. So I don't remember exactly how we both knew that there were tickets on, but you and Keith got yours separately, and then I bought mine. And the way I think this is so weird, why we didn't tell other people. It was like a wee secret. I could have invited my cousin or the McClellans who used to hang about with. Just didn't bother. That was our thing, you, me and Keith, and that was it. And then Leonard offered to drive down, which is quite mad looking back, because Amy was there too, so that's 4 of us were in the back. But obviously you and me are away anyway, so we'd have fitted in, no bother. So that was the build-up. So we had our tickets, we had our packed lunch. I didn't actually have an Oasis t-shirt. This is the thing that's getting me. I have no idea what I wore that day. And I know that none of us would have wore a football shirt, because you wouldn't want the confrontation of Northern Ireland or Aston Villa or Rangers or something back then. So we obviously just wore a t-shirt, jeans. I don't even know if we took a coat, because it was in the summer. I might have taken a coat for the ride, but anyway, so once we get dropped off at Jury's, no, wait a minute, let me talk about the trip down. So I came around the corner to your house, right, and Leonard and Jean were there, and we just hopped in. It must have been about 5 a.m. It was straight at dawn, it was dark. So by the time we'd got to Newry, your dad drove pretty well and pretty smooth, and we slept a wee bit at the start, and then you, me and Keith, all of us had brought tapes with every single Oasis song ever on them, right? So you went, oh, I'll put mine on first, so you stuck your one on, and then you found out that mine had Bonehead's Bank Holiday on it, so we're like, oh, I've got to stick that on. I haven't had Bonehead's Bank Holiday on, so stuck mine on. And then Keith had an Oasis tape as well. So we were, the whole day on the trip down, we were putting different tapes on. It was nuts. I mean, you had some live stuff as well, And Keith actually had the new Ash album. I remember that from Ash was 1977. So I think the only time that we didn't listen to Oasis on the way down was for Ash 1977. With that, I was quite proud about that because that's a Northern Irish band, isn't it? And I've met them since. That's a funny story. I've met all three members of Ash. I've been talking to Tim about lyrics and stuff. Anyway, so we stopped about twice on the way down. The first stop was like a coffee, and I think I had a Mars bar or something, and your dad just pulled over at a petrol station that had a wee coffee takeaway place. I've no idea where it is. My guess would be somewhere between Dundalk and Drogheda, just over the border into the Republic. And then obviously we didn't go via Dublin because we're heading to Cork. So your dad did all the directions with Jean. They had a map and everything. And there was a point where we stopped for lunch, and your parents had a camera. So there's a photo of us, you, me and Keith, sitting on a grass bank somewhere, as I recall, eating sandwiches. And away, your dad kept the car radio on, stereo on, so we could have Oasis while we're sitting eating our lunch. Oasis was still pumping. Do you know what I mean? And the next bit of the journey was very memorable because as we got closer to Cork, the traffic was nuts, absolutely mayhem. I just remember like looking out the window, and we were winding the window down and people were singing Wonderwall. People were walking down the street. We had to avoid sheep and goats and everything, you know, from Irish farms. It was banter. It was such great banter. There was a point where the Oasis fans that were walking were pushing sheep back into fields and stuff like that. And then your dad got across into Cork City and finally said, look, this is Jury's Inn. It's quite a big hotel on the corner by the river. Meet us here. Dropped us off, you, me and Keith, straight into the concert. Now, on the ticket, it doesn't tell you who the support bands are. It just says Oasis plus special guests. And as I recall, we had no idea until we got in who the support bands were. We didn't know. Because in those days, it wasn't like you'd have to get it in the newspaper or something, a Cork newspaper. We're in Bangor, we're not getting Cork news, right? There wasn't, you know, nobody had the internet. I think my parents finally got a modem in like 97 or 98. So in 96, I mean, we weren't even online. Nuts. So when we got to the gig, they were just checking the tickets. Now I wanted to buy a t-shirt, and then I remember you, me and Keith saying, look, we can buy that after the gig. So I think I bought a t-shirt and a poster. I'm actually not sure what you and Keith bought, but I bought an Oasis t-shirt, a red one with Liam on it, which I still have in my parents' place. I'll have to dig it out sometime. And I bought a poster, and the poster's only Noel and Liam with the word Oasis on it. So I bought, those are my not my only two souvenirs. I bought a programme, which I've still got, and I remember during the gig, I had to hold the programme for the whole gig. So at one point, I lifted up my shirt and I put it in here, and I was jumping up and down, and the programme was getting really sweaty. And then I folded the programme and put it in my baseball cap. So when we got inside the gig, something really stupid happened, and it was my fault. It was you and Keith saw something happening, and you ran up and got these wristbands, right? And the wristband was supposed to get us into the next section. But I didn't have a wristband, and as far as I recall, you and Keith had those. I don't know whether you still have them, or whether I'm imagining the fact that you both put them on, or whether we joined the queue for those wristbands, and then they said, well, just stay here in this section, because there were 3 different sections. There was the very front, which we were too late for, then there was the next section, then there was the section with everyone else. But we got in reasonably early. When we got in, the Bootleg Beatles had just started. They were the first band on. They had just started. And I remember memorably from them, they played Hello, Goodbye. They said, I say goodbye, you say hello. I remember that song. And then the Prodigy were nuts. Like Firestarter went wild. Firestarter was one of the loudest and everyone was bouncing up and down, and it was mad. So it was. We obviously didn't have a lot of money back then, so we weren't even buying drink or food. We might have that food might have been enough for us the whole day. Like the lunch that we had, I've got a feeling that was it. We didn't need any more. So it was the 14th of August 1996, and here's the exact set list. So support bands Bootleg, Beatles and Prodigy. Gates opened at 4 p.m, so my guess is the Bootleg Beatles came on at 4:30 or 5. Prodigy came on about 6, 6:30, for about an hour till about 7:30, and then we knew Oasis were coming on probably about 8:30. It was not dark yet when they first came on, so here's the live set, because I wrote it down at the time. Swamp Song came on to that, Columbia, Aquia, Supersonic, Hello, and then all these mega ones came out, because that's quite a little teaser for the madness. Some might say, and Roll With It next. They went nuts. Roll With It was nuts. We were just jumping up and down. We were pushing into the front of the guys in front of us. At one point we got separated. I remember that. It was either during Slide Away or Morning Glory, where we couldn't find each other. And then we just sort of came back a wee bit from the crowd and round our way with Up in the Sky at the end, Cigarettes and Alcohol. And then the acoustic set. I remember the acoustic set was just getting dark. So Noel came out and he played Whatever, Cast No Shadow, Wonderwall, The Master Plan. And then Noel went into the electric and did Don't Look Back in Anger. That was wild. That was really dark at that point. And then Live Forever. And then he went, these are the new songs. Yeah, new songs, mate. And we got My Big Mouth, It's Getting Better Man. And still to this day, my highlight is actually hearing those two new songs in a time where the buzz of Oasis, because we knew all the other songs, like we knew them all, word for word, chord for chord, and to hear those two new ones right at the end. It was Live Forever, and then we had, so it's Don't Look Back in Anger, Live Forever, My Big Mouth, It's Getting Better Man, two mega new tunes, like 6 minutes long, and then the encore, they went off, and they came back for Champagne Supernova and finished with I Am the Walrus. So it was absolutely nuts, and that's my memories. And then after the gig, we did we did the souvenir thing, t-shirts and poster, and then Leonard and Jean, and your mum and dad must have had a day out in Cork. You know, they must have went for dinner and had a wee tour of the city. So fair play to them. If you see Leonard and Jane, you can show them this, so you can say thanks a lot. Like years on, I'm so grateful for everything that we did that day. It was just so mad to see Oasis at that peak. And then of course you and I went to see them again many times after that, but you can't quite replace that first one. So yeah, I hope you're well. Glad you got the tickets, and we'll catch up next year. Next year's gonna be absolutely wild catch up. So we're going to the same gig. It's nuts. So yeah, we'll meet up for lunch and everything. I'll have a proper decent lunch in a pub or something. A few pints of Guinness, just a bit of reminiscing. Get the t-shirts out, get the old sunglasses out, the bucket hats. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's gonna be wild. So anyway, keep her lit. See you soon, Colin. All right.